How's it going, guys? In this quick video, I'm going to show you guys how to create this state machine in Quartus and how to make the waveform in ModelSim. Just right here. Alright, first things first, file, new, state machine file. Now our inputs are SC and OE, and our outputs are T and DR, and I'll show you guys how to set it up real quick. So first things first, actually, let's make our states. So state 1. State 2, state 3, state 4. And I usually like to edit the names inside them, so what I'm going to do is double click on them, change this to idle, apply, change this to start, apply, change this to waiting, apply, and then change this last one to read. Alright, next thing what you gotta do is gotta draw the lines. So this is a loop. So just like draw it around anywhere. Draw this to here. This to here. This to here. This to here. Another one here. Doesn't matter what direction the loop's going in as long as you just got the loop. Alright, there you go. Next thing we gotta do, gotta add in our inputs and outputs. So our inputs are T and DR. So there's two ways you can do this. Usually what I like to do is I like to add the inputs here. But most people, what they like to do and they're more comfortable with is opening up the state machine wizard, editing what's there, and then putting them in here. So our inputs are T and DR. So I'm just gonna add T. Our outputs are SC and OE. SC and OE. I'm going to click apply. Now, once I click apply, you guys are going to notice that the state machine itself right here is going to look completely different than what it is here, but I'll explain why they're both exactly the same. Click apply. Here it is. Here's the jumbled up mess. So if you guys actually look closely, the loops are still here, and it still follows the same thing as the diagram. Idle goes to start, start goes to waiting, waiting goes to read, and to idle. Now the next thing we got to do is that we have to set up our transitions. Now in this case, we have how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, first transition, let me idle, which is going to be not T. Now for my fault. It's actually idle to start is going to be not T. Or no, it's T. For idle to idle it is not T. Alright, so that was good. So then, yes, from idle to start is T. And from start to waiting, it's going to be not T, not DR. Now, in theory, you could just put T and DR at the same time because these are unconditional transitions and they're both don't care. So the values of these are not necessarily going to make that big of a change, but just to be safe, I'm going to put not T and not DR. Now for our next state, from waiting to waiting, as you can see there's a loop. It's going to be not DR, because as you can see here, DR is 0. So not DR. And back from waiting to read, it's going to be DR. For our last transition, again, it's going to be not T, not DR. So now we're going to click apply. So you can see they're all here. This is kind of blurred out, but that is a T under there. This is a DR. So we'll close out of here. Save our project. save it as figure 12 underscore 82. Save. I already made this project before, but I'm just going to replace it just for the sake of the project. Yes. Next up, we click on generate Hdl file. Now, when you do the Hdl file, make sure you click on VHDL, because if you click on Verilog, all the inputs are going to show up as high Z in ModelSim. So make sure you click on VHDL. So then we're going to click OK. And here it is. Here's the VHDL file. Now, next thing we want to do, make sure everything is saved. We're going to open up ModelSim. Alright, now from here, what we're going to do, we're going to click on File, New, Project. So I'm going to name it the same thing as the block diagram in Quartus. So I'm going to do figure 12 underscore 82. And I'm going to make sure it's saved in the right place. So then I'm going to add the VHDL file that we just compiled. So we'll go to Browse, and we click on figure 12 underscore 82. I just want to note real quick that this types as WinZip file. So my computer reads WinZip files and VHDL files the same. So when you're probably going to open up, this is probably going to show up as a VHD file or VHDL file. In either case, we're going to click on it, press OK, close, and then compile it. File selected. Then we're going to click on Start Simulation under Simulate. Under Work, our compiled VHDL files right here. So click on OK. And as you can see here, we have all our objects, our inputs, T and DR, our clock, and our F state. Now, it's important to know that we make sure everything is exactly the same as it is here in the waveform viewer. Now in this case, we're not going to necessarily need SC and OE because they are outputs and they change depending on the T and DR. So don't worry about SC and OE. Basically what we're going to be worrying about is DR, T, and our states. So first things first, let's add the waves. I personally like to make sure I can modify my wave. So what I usually do is I right click on the wave, and instead of clicking add wave, I go to modify and I go to apply wave. So constant, and then I'm going to set the time to about 2000 picoseconds just to be safe. Constant attributes, value 0. Sounds good. Now your F state, that's going to stay the same. So regularly just add as a wave. T, go back to modify. Wave, constant, 2000 picoseconds. Alright, I think that's everything I need. Let's make sure. Alright, bet. Clock, DR, T, and F state. Okay, cool. So they have theirs in a different order. It doesn't really make a difference. But here, I'm just going to make a pulse real quick. So what we do is click on clock. Make sure it's on falling, press OK, and we run it a few times. Now that we've ran it a few times, we can make sure that we have a correct amount of pulses, or like a sufficient amount, just so we can make sure we run through all the states. First thing we do now, then we modify our states. So let's see, T after the first pulse, so I'm going to modify this little area. Oh, and if you're going to modify the waves, make sure they click on edit wave, which is right here, or edit mode, sorry. So then we're going to highlight this specific area, go to wave editor, value, and then put in our exact dimensions or values that we want, and then make this high. And then we're going to do this for T and DR. So let's see. It's high. Let's see how many pulses after DR is high. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. starting at this edge right here. I'll highlight this area. Make this high. Let's see. After another 3 pulses, T is high again. Make sure you have a value, so we're obviously making it high. Okay, and our last pulse, or our last modification, is right here. So after another 3 pulses, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Highlight this area, right click, wave editor, value, 200, 1400, this high, and then now what we're going to do is that I'm actually going to reset this. So click restart, which is this button right here. Press OK. Make sure, and then once you click restart, you have to make sure that you make a clock again. So you have to go to following, press OK, and then we're going to run it, see if it goes through all the states. Okay, cool. Let's see what we got. So idle, start, waiting, read, and as you can see, it is starting exactly the same as the waveform viewer. Read, back to idle, 0, back to start, which is 1, back again to waiting, back again to read, right back to idle. Yeah, and that's how you make this state machine.